Hey, it's Gregory from Treetop Harvey Hardwoods. And mistakes were made. At first glance, that looks like a beautiful piece of oak, all canted, ready to go. And then you start to notice these black marks. Yeah, that is from a very bad blade that started out in really good shape and had a real hard time getting through the end of this log. The culprit? Well, in just a few seconds, you're going to see two black marks. Right there. That's a nail or a piece of barbed wire or something, and it destroyed the teeth on the blade. Well, rather than trying to back it out or, whatever, we decided to go ahead and saw on through it and finish that log, and then that cant's going to go on a stack, and we're going to decide what to do with it later. We can probably salvage some through it, but honestly, right now, with a new blade, time to get a new piece of oak and saw through it. That's my brother-in-law Michael, and partner in the business. And what we're doing here is learning. We're learning how to saw logs. We've probably sawn 3 or 4 good length logs. This guy's about 10 feet long, relatively straight. Spent a lot of money on a metal detector, a little wand, we'll show you that later. And checked the log, didn't seem to have any metal in it. And through the end of the rest of the video, you'll see that we didn't have any more problems with that. So right now, we're cutting the log and seeing what we get. Obviously, we want to get to a square cant. And so you take off little bits here and there, and then you roll it. And right now I'm just going to kind of let you enjoy it. Probably a couple speed ramps to get us through this a little faster. Ideally, YouTube says, yeah, make your video content as long as you can, but I don't want you guys falling asleep on it either. That's my son, Henry. He's learning as well. We're all trying to figure out how to make this work. So, sure, lots of mistakes are made, but that's what this is for, and the more we do, the better we get. Mostly just need to be safe, consistent, and try to get through these things. Here, we're using a cant hook and a 2x4 to take the flat edge up against the log stops on the other side there. You can't see them, you'll see them here in a minute. But what happens is, you don't have anything to keep the log from rolling back, so you find a piece of wood. In this case, nice long old concrete form 2x4. And I'm just going to brace that thing so that we're nice and firm up against those log stops. I learned everything about sawing pretty much through YouTube. A world of information, and so I'm hoping I can be as beneficial as those guys that I've watched. So as soon as you get it up there, Henry's playing with a, I forget what that's called, but it's a stop, and you lock it in place, and it just digs into the wood real tight there. And so we'll get that log nice and firm. You don't want any wiggle or movement in the log once you're up there. So he's struggling with a little bit, but as you can tell, he's about got it. Go ahead and lock it in place. Really dig that hook into the wood. And there's 2 of them currently. We're going to add another one later. But I'm finding another piece of wood to just make sure it's good and snug up against there. Obviously you want to make sure that the log stops and these hooks going in there below the cut line. You hit one of those with the blade and it's back to ground zero, and you run the risk of really messing up the blade. A little tighter shot there, and you can see it really pushes in nice and tight. Henry will tighten that down on the bar, and we're good to go. One thing you'll notice is we've, from the last video, improved our video a good deal. My good buddy Charlie came in, set up his camera, and he's done a lot of YouTube content, social media content, so he's got a better idea of how to do these things. And the trick is with YouTube content is to keep it simple. There's no need in getting too fancy here. I mentioned in the last one, I'm actually a professional commercial video maker, filmmaker, whatever you want to call it. And so it's really difficult for me to, not direct or find the beautiful shot. No, so that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to give educational content here, and hopefully everybody can learn something and enjoy a cup of coffee while you're watching somebody saw wood. That's what I'm going for. So here's your speed ramp. As you can see, we rolled it over. Now we're on a flat edge, so we've got 2 flat edges after that cut, and lock it in again, making sure that that blade is well above everything. You don't want to cut too little off the top of these sides and just have to keep going back. So I'm going to drop it down, make sure that we're cutting a good square cant. A cant is what a log becomes once it's been sawed. And as you can see, that blade is like a hot knife through butter. Much better than the last one. So I'm saving those offcuts because we'll use those as weight as we stack the wood. We'll get into stacking here in just a minute. Again, a few speed ramps here, and watch what we're doing. And take just a little bit more off. You'll see I set the height on the gauge there. Get a nice cut. I'm doing 1-bys. So that right there will really kind of a slab because it's got a live edge on it. And here we're going to roll it over again. Again, trying to get to that square cant we want. For this particular log, I wanted to make sure I understood all the intricacies to getting into just sawing boards. Not just live slabs like you'll see on the hard right there, where we cut an entire log in almost all slabs. I want to make sure I get some nice clear boards. So those log stops, those are what I was talking about. Those are on this side of the mill. And I pulled out the long ones. Now that I've got nice hard flat edges, Mike and I pulled out the long log stops and put in very short ones. You can see they're nice and tight. And there you go, cruising away. And just like that, have a nice square cant. And here's a little bit of the director in me. You can take the kid out of the movies, but you just can't take the movies out of the kid. Telling Charlie what to do as if I had to do that, which I certainly didn't. Just give me a nice tight close-up of that wood. That's what these people are here to see. Let's give them what they want. So yeah, this is post oak, and my dad, I told him we were cutting a post oak log, and he's like, what the hell is post oak? Well, there's your definition from Google. Apparently it's really good for smoking and cooking with, and fence posts, but we're going to cut it into a nice bunch of boards, which somebody could use for whatever they want to use. Any hobbyist interested, check out the Etsy store. We'll have this for sale in just a little while. We're going to let it dry, hopefully build a kiln, and get that bad boy, or those bad boards, ready to go. One thing I'm not terribly tickled about is all the sawdust. I knew this was going to be an issue. Right now we're stacking the wood right where the sawdust dumps out of the mill. So we're thinking about other ways to do that. Ultimately what we do after off camera is we're going to move that entire stack, both stacks, over to the other side. And we got to be able to get to them with a forklift anyway, so the mill's blocking that. So I'm going to move it, and we will get into some dust control. I'm learning that sawdust is not great to inhale. In particular, cedar is actually kind of toxic and can really cause irritations with some people's breathing. We'll get there, so we'll see. This is something I saw on a couple other YouTube pages where they pour water over the log, try to raise the grain and give you an idea what it looks like finished. I personally think it just made a real big mess. You can see the post oak is very even. Lots of cool little characters, coming off the side of that thing. But it is a tight grain. You'll see me kind of pointing out the sapwood on that. It's still super dense, so I wouldn't discard it necessarily. I'll let the finish carpenters decide what they're going to use or not use. This is about a 9-inch plank, and we're going to leave it like that. Somebody can determine what they want to do with it. My goal here is to try to provide good, straight, hardwood boards, and we'll go from there. Again, probably not going to be doing a lot more water pouring, at least not on the mill. We'll wait till we get them off and outside or something like that. One of the things I really want to do is saw into some other kinds of wood. We don't get a lot of differentiation. We'll get some red oak, some white oak. Very rarely will we get any kind of walnut or anything like that down here in Texas. Certainly we get some cedar, which we've cut a little bit of. You can see it in the background there. Cedar trees aren't huge, so it's fairly select, but we'll do the best we can. The idea is I want to provide wood that is hobby friendly, straight, flat, dry, and ready to do something with. I think there'll be plenty of that coming up. Again, quality over quantity, and we'll go from there. Here we're going to speed ramp it up. I made my decision. Let's put 2 more pallets down and stack these a little more neatly. And for all those OCD nerds out there, here we are straightening up. I'm going to drop some pallets here and think, oh, are these the right pallets? I don't know. I'm kind of running out. And they're not even. Last thing you want is boards to warp, weird. And even with stickers, that's just not going to work. So, Henry, go grab the Bobcat and grab me some more pallets. Again, staying with the speed things up a little bit. It's got a bit of a comedic flavor to it. And if you had just the right kind of music, it can be pretty entertaining. So enjoy that. Okay, so that's probably about enough of that funny music. Here, you'll see just about in any sawmilling video, they'll talk about stickers, which are just those little pieces of wood that are put between the planks. And you do them generally between 20 and 24 inches apart. You try to just get a good even distribution of weight over those stickers on a flat surface, i.e. pallets. And what that does is allow air to flow between the boards. Again, you want even distribution or even loss of moisture over time. And so the stickers provide that space. And then again, those stacks are probably about an inch and a half apart. When we're done cutting and stacking all these, I'll go back with some very simple, cheap latex paint and paint the ends. Again, that'll help with the distribution or the slowing of the water loss from the ends of the boards, which tend to be drier. Right there, you can see I'm dropping that gauge, and what I'm cutting all these to is about 1 inch and 1/8, and that 1/8 is basically the width of the blade. What I didn't realize until watching this video is when I lock down this sled, you'll see it dropped a little bit more. So I'm still getting a good inch or 4/4 cut on these. Why Sawyers decided to call it 4/4 instead of 1 inch, I don't know. I guess it's just a simple way of communication. The other thing I noticed, and you're going to see it right at the end of this cut here, is we thought maybe something was uneven with the sleigh, or the rails rather, and the sled that rolls across it. And you can see my blade is just about 1 inch below, but watch when I go past this stop right here. The board is loose at that end. Look at that board raise up. Well, that thinned out, and you can see the dip in the blade there. So it thinned out that last cut, and I should have had 2 1-inch pieces. Instead, I got one that's a little thick at the end, and one is very thin at the end. So lesson learned, you need to make sure that those, when you're getting to that light of a cut with no weight on it, you need to make sure that that board is secure. So about 1 inch there, and you'll see briefly it's starting to get thinner and thinner. Once you get past this stop right here, I don't even think that's a 1/2 inch. So anyway, there's another look at the character of the board. Pretty happy with that. Should be for some interesting wood. Some people love it, some people hate it, but again, kind of just learning. There's more water because I already made the mess, so figured might as well give a look. But there's definitely some character in there. It'd be interesting to see what can be done with that. I'm sure there are some qualified craftsmen out there that can make some really pretty wood. Furniture, cabinets, tables, whatever. I don't know. One thing I plan to do is kind of do a little discovery myself and cut some of these boards and slabs and do something with them. Make some value out of them. Here again, we're taking those offcuts and setting them on our boards, and this just adds weight. If for the drying process. And you know, if you're going to set those outside, you got to do some sort of sacrificial wood to keep them out of the weather. And really, it's recommended that you put them under some sort of cover. You really don't want rain on your boards, considering how long they have to dry. We'll get into drying later as I learn more about that. And you know, again, it's an education and process, and hoping you guys might enjoy it. You know, that's your yield from that log. I'm guessing it was probably, what, 24 inches wide? I don't remember. But again, you can see what comes out of that. I would love to hear people's comments, what they think I should be doing differently with the videos, what they think I should be doing differently or better with the sawing. Education is power. So last thing, of course, like, subscribe, and comment, share. We would love to have you. We'll be back.